हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं एक अमरीकी सहाफ़ी, इनका नाम है केटिन डोर्नबोस, और उन्होंने ये इंकशाफ किया कि ईरान अमरीका मुज़ाकरात के हवाले से आने वाले दिन निहायत ताहम हो सकते हैं और पाकिस्तान एक मरतबा फिर अहम सिफारती किरदार अदा करता दिखाई दे रहा है फाइनली। जी मुजम्मिल,
और आपको लेके चलते हैं बगैर वक्त ज़ाया किए कैटलिन के पास। तो हेलो कैटलिन, हाउ आर यू एंड हाउज द एयर हियर?
Oh, the air is lovely, let alone the weather. It's just, I feel so beloved here. It's just been an amazing experience.
You're always welcome. And this part of South Asia has open arms and open hearts, and we're a melting pot, diverse melting pot of cultures.
That's how we are actually. I don't know how and why we are portrayed differently in West or America. Why is that?
It has been such a surprise to me too. I mean, it is. You're right. Pakistan has a PR problem. You don't get this sense back home. I think a lot of that is, I grew up in 9/11. I was a child, and we saw so much associated with the Taliban.
Yeah.
And now that experience is not what's being projected back home.
Karachi is popping with rave culture right now, and it's all legal, and you've got nightclubs opening up there. Yeah, that's amazing. Anyway, so as morning shows go, we're always short on time because it's a magazine show, right? Let's get into the business. Now, Pakistani people and the people of Afghanistan, Iran, neighboring countries, there's some part of China, some part of India. People in this region are right now very aware of the fact that President Donald Trump is the key figure at the center of a lot of controversies, a lot of facts, and then there's, of course, the war. Now, you've had a good chat with President Donald Trump, and taking that good chat into account, take us inside the mind of the president. What is he thinking about the war? Is the cost of the war one of the bigger factors for this peace deal to materialize? Is it Pakistan? What's the president thinking right now?
He was very clear with me on our latest phone call that he wants Iran not to be nuclear. He's said that time and time again. He told me that he doesn't want to be seen as having gone back on his word in some way. It was very clear to me that he was not even interested in a 20-year moratorium that would possibly delay Iran from being able to enrich its uranium for about 2 decades. So as far as how American politics affect his mind, I'm sure it comes into an effect with some issues, but when it comes to war and national security for the United States, he's got his targeted eye on what is best for the United States.
What happened with the MAGA, Make America Great Again, campaign? Because he came into power with that slogan that I'm going to make America great again, and then when he comes into power the second time, he attacks Iran. How did that happen?
Well, I mean,
and what people are thinking over there in the supporters of Trump.
Right. So Make America Great Again is, it means multiple things. And it also kind of, it gets, people think different things of what it actually means.
Okay.
There are 2 different camps that support the president. There are those who are very non-interventionist and don't want the U.S. to be involved in foreign conflicts. And then there are others who are very supportive of the president, who know that America needs to be a leader in the world and support the president's agenda when it comes to these overseas initiatives.
Right.
So you've got half of the public who believes one thing in support and half that don't.
But when we look at the statements of Trump when he was, campaigning for the second time to become president, he criticized Kamala Harris many times, saying that she is going to get into wars with different countries, which is not going to be our wars. And then he comes to power and he attacks Iran. So there is a confusion there, conflicting statements there.
I think it's just, to watch President Trump's foreign policy is an evolving issue. I don't think that you can pin him into any corner and say this is always what he's going to do all of the time.
Part being a businessman, part being a diplomat, so he has that mindset and the best of both worlds, right? So, well, coming back to the next 48 hours, coming back to the topic of what might transpire next, as his words suggest that some big news can transpire. So start with the can part in this sentence and then the transpire part.
Sure. So about 2 days ago, I had my call with the president, and he said within 48 hours. Well, it's been 48 hours, and I think there has been big news. Just yesterday, when he was speaking to the press and saying that he might come to Pakistan if there is a deal to be signed. There's been a lot of progress as far as Pakistan visiting Iran and having some kind of discussions about a possible deal, or at least bringing negotiations closer. So I think we've already had our big news moment. I'm not going anywhere for the foreseeable future, so I don't want to be the bellwether of whether or not talks are going to happen in Islamabad, but if it makes you feel any better, the Pakistanis in general, like, I'm still here and I don't have any plans to go home anytime soon.
We can safely say that you being here is a news itself, because President Trump have spoken to you and told you to stay there until something big happens. Okay, so what do you think? I really want you to comment on Pakistan's role in the current situation, because there are countries who are criticizing Pakistan a lot, that what is special in mediating in a conflict like this. What do you think, as a journalist from America, think Pakistan is playing a role? What kind of role, and how important it is?
Well, I can give you what I'm getting from my reporting, because that's something I think even Americans are wondering themselves. And it has really been the role, of the field marshal. I mean, President Trump was incredibly clear to me about that, and then later the next day telling Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, to emphasize his role as well. The ability to bring two horrible adversaries, just with so much hate. Iran calls America the great Satan. The fact that both of those nations can trust one nation, Pakistan, to come together. I mean, it honestly, it kind of gives you goosebumps.
Goosebumps, yeah.
To think about
diplomacy, right?
Right, exactly.
All right, so about the conflict resolution. Right now, the world is in shambles when it comes to economic aspects and business aspects. The oil is an issue right now. I mean, tech could suffer next because helium is not being transported to where it is required. How much of the business cost and the military cost is a motivational factor in President Donald Trump's mind that we need to conduct business and fast, otherwise the global economy is going to collapse? How much of a motivational factor for these talks to materialize is it?
I haven't spoken to him specifically about that, so it's hard for me to be able to kind of open his mind.
But your journalistic overview.
But I mean, he's a businessman, right? So we can understand that he understands the economy. He understands what's at stake. And really here, you're seeing him balance national security, keeping people's lives, and also business interests, which also affects people's lives. And so he's trying to walk this delicate tightrope. With those pressures at play, I mean, I think that brings him closer to want to end this war, and that's a good thing.
All right, so Strait of Hormuz blockaded by Iran partially, and then Uno reverse, right? U.S. naval ships enter the Strait of Hormuz, and do you think that pressure is also motivating Iran to materialize these talks, make sure that something positive comes out of these talks?
Absolutely, and I would say it wasn't so much Uno reverse. Before you had the blockade, it was no one was safe to go through the strait. Now the United States is only targeting Iran's ports. That's the major target of it. And so with that, the idea is that the strait becomes safer and then global trade can begin. I do think that the whole reason why that was done is to force Iran to the table. That did not have to be done had a deal been signed over the weekend. So hopefully that's going into the Iranians' minds of an additional pressure to get them to be willing to make a deal as well.
Right. Okay, Caitlin, there is one more thing about this whole fiasco, if I may say that. That is Israel, and there's a thing that is, that's been very common in our minds, especially the people of Pakistan, that Israel is the spoiler here. Because there are talks that's been going on with Iran and between Iran and USA, and at the same time we don't trust Iran. Iranians don't trust Israel, that Israel going to attack once again, even within the ceasefire. How confident you are that President Trump would be able to hold Israel to its place and to not attack Iran during the ceasefire at least?
I think after having watched his policy, it's possible that the United States and Donald Trump can play the similar role that Pakistan has played in bringing Iran and the U.S. together. He has a relationship with Bibi Netanyahu. He has a relationship with the rest of the world. And so I think that there is some balancing act that possibly he could even bring to this conflict, one of the oldest conflicts that our history has even seen, helping kind of there just has to be some peace in the Middle East.
There has to be peace in the Middle East because there's the business interest of the world is at stake. How much of a pain point is Lebanon right now for the United States of America in this conflict?
I think that it is a factor, but really the president is concerned about Iran more than anything, because when you get into that mindset of he says America first, what are the threats that face the United States? And it's economic and it's nuclear, ballistic, anything that could possibly come to the American homeland.
Right.
So that's where his mind is really focused.
So J.D. Vance and President Donald Trump, when it comes to a permanent ceasefire or some sort of a contract between...
Pete Hegseth as well.
Yeah, Pete Hegseth as well. When it comes to the ceasefire and a permanent end to this war, or maybe a long-term end to this war, do you think people sitting in high chairs in the White House are on the same page?
I think that it's getting there.
Right.
There has been a up and down and division between people in the White House and in the Republican Party, in the administration, on what really is the best steps. But ultimately, they all follow the President of the United States.
Right.
And so, but the President also has a listening ear. He asks people for their advice. He asked me what I was hearing from Pakistanis here and Iranians. So he listens to everyone, he takes that advice in, and then he makes his own decision. And I think that ultimately when he does make a decision, it's a very uniting factor, and everybody does come together to support the president.
But what about like people, Pete Hegseth?
Yeah.
Because during this conflict, he was saying that Shias or Sunnis, both are enemies. What kind of statement President Trump think this is, and are they on the same page about this situation, Pete Hegseth and President Trump, because he's the Minister of War?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, again, it comes down to what the president says. If the president doesn't like what Hegseth is saying, he will call him up and tell him otherwise. We're not maybe going to hear about that because they want to present an image of unity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think mostly people are on the same page. There are a division of opinions on what should and shouldn't happen, but ultimately, again, I mean, it comes down to what the president thinks.
All in the global interest and interest of the United States of America and the global economy, right?
That's the main point, right?
Yeah.
All
All right, so it was great having you here. Unfortunately, we're a little short on time, as I mentioned earlier also.
Thank you.
I'm going to try and get a hold of you because I wanted to talk so much about what you've written recently,
thank
right?
you.
Your articles and the pieces, and I've done some research into who Carolyn actually is.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I was
Nice.
wanting to talk about all of that, but we're going to find some time other than this, and right?
So apparently, I have time to spend
All
before
right,
those
all
talks
right.
happen.
Aisha and I
We'd
will
love to
be
catch up with
hosting
you.
you, yeah,
Thank you
right?
so
Off
much.
the record.
Off the record.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much,
Nice
Catherine.
meeting you.
ओके जी, कैथरीन डॉर्नबॉस की गुफ्तगू जो है वो आपने मुलाहिजा की, वो ये कह रही हैं कि जनाब प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप जो है वो बहुत ऑप्टिमिस्टिक हैं, और उनके ऑप्टिमिस्टिक होने की वजह से पूरा वाइट हाउस, उसके साथ साथ जितने भी जर्नलिस्ट यहाँ पर आए हुए हैं वो भी ऑप्टिमिस्टिक हैं, और उनकी बातें सुन के ना हम भी काफ़ी ऑप्टिमिस्टिक फील करना शुरू कर दिया है हमने कि इंशाल्लाह ये जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है ना, ये अब रेजोल्यूशन